Hello, this is Joanne. I'm a Portland area creative wellness education expert and psychologist, and I'm here today to talk about burnout, and in particular, burnout and creative wellness practices. So, how do creative wellness practices improve burnout symptoms or help you with burnout prevention altogether? One of the main ways to characterize burnout is with three components. So there's three main components of burnout that are most common. One of them is exhaustion. So it could be either physical exhaustion or emotional exhaustion. For example, just feeling like you can no longer be compassionate towards people. Or not sleeping, not being able to sleep, and just not being able to function as a result. Another component is feeling like you aren't effective, feeling like you aren't competent, feeling like you can't make a difference. And often people who feel like they can't be effective in their work feel just kind of low about themselves, and the work loses meaning. Another component is feeling apathetic, and I think feeling ineffective and apathetic often can look very similar and go hand in hand. So an example of apathy would just to be feeling like, this doesn't matter. Nothing I do matters. I don't feel anything when I'm at work, even if you did something amazing or had like a connection with someone that normally you would feel really great about, or if you did something like really significant, most people would feel good about themselves, but someone with apathy and feeling numb in their job won't feel much about it. So often people with burnout just feel really stressed out because they don't really want to they can't go to work. They feel like they can't do their job. And this causes more and more stress, and sometimes people avoid and they can no longer attend work. The reason why I practice creative wellness is that I think it's really effective for sustaining a healthy relationship with work. The reason being that creativity allows you to play. At work, sometimes it may feel like you can't play, like you can't have fun, perhaps you can't make mistakes. And so there's a lot of pressure. And so when you engage in creative activities, you get in touch with the energy that comes from play, being maybe exploratory, maybe not really knowing where you're going with your piece, but letting your mind just kind of go moment by moment. That is so healthy for you, and it really needs to be something we have in our daily lives, because without that, we're just always regimented and kind of trying to fit into a certain box, and that can be very stressful for our brains and our bodies. Another aspect of it is where you feel satisfied and really proud of what you're doing. Maybe you don't even finish your project, but the act of actually making something and being able to see it tangibly is so different than, say, thinking of an idea for work and putting steps forward to follow through with the idea, but it's not something you can really see physically in front of you. It feels kind of out there and abstract. So with creativity and making, you can really take those ideas and make them concrete, which I think we as humans it's just innate in us to be makers. We've had generations and generations of makers. And so I think that really provides that satisfaction that feeds us. There are so many other aspects of creative work that are helpful for burnout. One of the main ones I use is to be able to use my handwork to process feelings. So for instance, after a session with a client, I'm often feeling a little bit wired, is probably the word that I'd use. I'm still stewing in what we've talked about. Maybe I'm actually also feeling kind of bad about something I may have done wrong or made a mistake went in, or I wish I would have said differently. Sometimes that spills over into another session if I don't have a clear way of processing those feelings. So in between sessions, I usually leave about 10 to 15 minutes, and I will finish my note, and then I'll pick up something to stitch. Like right now I'm working on this embroidery, and I'll just kind of work on the trees, and I'll do that for a few minutes. And while I'm doing that, really kind of like I'm breathing, and I'm letting some of the tension release as I breathe, as I engage in this work. And sometimes I work out stuff in my mind too. Sometimes I kind of get in touch with a more accurate perspective, or I encourage myself, or engage in compassion. So it provides that break for me to really touch base with myself. And through this handwork, it provides almost kind of like a buffer, in that, like, because I'm focusing on the handwork, it allows me to kind of relax a bit, and then my mind can kind of visit these other stickier thoughts that maybe I would feel a little bit too anxious or tense to look at without the buffer of the handwork. So I think that's one of the main ways I use creative handwork and creative wellness to help me regulate my stress system as a therapist. How do you use creative wellness? Are you engaging in any creative activities? And what do you find beneficial? Also, do you feel like you need some guidance in how to integrate creativity into your wellness practice? These are the things I'm passionate about teaching, and I'm teaching them at my upcoming retreat in September. You can find out more in my in the links that are attached to my bio or the account, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about it too. I'm also going to be doing a class in Vancouver, Washington on October 8th that's all about embroidering for climate change. So we're going to be working on this collaborative piece of fabric. So we're each going to take a little section, draw an image or a word that we want to convey as our message about climate change, and then we're going to stitch it. And it's going to be this really fun collaborative community project. So if you're interested in that, I think that I haven't linked it to my account yet. So I will be doing that. You can also message me and get that information. Okay?